Hi everyone! I'm here to do a unhaul video. Obviously you can read the title. Basically my shelves are very full. They're pretty much full now still, even with all these books that I'm getting rid of. Anyways, but yeah, so I'm going to get rid of a few books that I was kind of like unsure of before, and I'm just going to unhaul them. So let's have a look and see what I've decided to get rid of this time. The first one I've got is, for some reason I've got a really huge copy of this, Graveminder by Melissa Marr. Now, if you've watched my channel since I first started uploading, you'll know that I love Melissa Marr's Wicked Lovely series, and I have enjoyed some of her other books, but this one I just couldn't really get into, and I barely remember it, and I'd never bothered with the sequels, so I'm just holding on to it for the sake of it being a Melissa Marr book, but I'm not bothered about it, so I think it's time to go. And it is huge, so it takes up so much of my shelves. So yeah, it's going. I really don't even know what it's about now, and I've read it. It's something to do with like criminal investigations of murders, I think. Yep, I read that book. The next one is a series that I've decided to just not bother with anymore, because I keep saying I'm going to buy the rest, and then I don't, and then I'm just not really that bothered. And it's, I don't know what this series is actually called, but it's the Jackson Pierce like fairy tale retellings. So I have Sweetly and Sisters Red. Sweetly is Hansel and Gretel, and Sisters Red is Red Riding Hood. And yeah, they have like, I think Jackson Pierce did a Little Mermaid one and something else. But yeah, it's been a very long time since I bought these, and I haven't bought any of the other books, and I'm just not really that bothered anymore. But if you like fairy tale retellings, which I do like, I didn't dislike reading these books. I remember enjoying them at the time. I've kind of forgotten about this series, and it's taken up a lot of room on my shelves that I don't really have. So yeah, sorry, goodbye. The next one probably is not going to be a shocker whatsoever, because I didn't like it. I called it the worst book of the year, not last year, the year before, and it was a chore to read. And even though everyone says it's amazing, I couldn't get into it. And that's Uprooted by Naomi Novik. And I actually kept this because I wanted to reread it, because I was under the illusion that I was going to love this, and I was so disappointed by it. And I thought maybe I just read it like when it wasn't for me, and I shouldn't have really been reading. I was forcing my way through it. No, I didn't like this book. Stop trying to justify it. I didn't like it, and I'm going to get rid of it. This is a fantasy story about a girl who ends up going to live with a wizard, and things happen. Obviously I'm not going to spoil anything, and I don't really remember. Again, it's not one I remember that well. I remember one scene being very jarring and out of place, but I'm not going to tell you about that because that'd be spoilers. But yeah, I just didn't care for this when I read it, and so I don't know why I'm trying to care for it now, because I'm just keeping it for the sake of it now. The next book that I'm going to get rid of is Stealing Snow by Danielle Page. This is a ice cream retelling, and it's just very average, very bland really. It's not really got much to keep me interested. It is a series, and I haven't bought any of the sequels. That probably says something again. So yeah, I'm just gonna get rid of it. Goodbye. The next one I have is The Loneliness of Distant Beings by Kate Ling. This is a sci-fi like dystopian kind of story, and I remember some parts of it really well, and I remember, and then other parts I'm like, I don't actually know what the plot was. But there's definitely a lot of I remember the romance in this, but I don't know what the actual like point of the story. Maybe it was just a romance, and I'm like bashing on this book a bit. But I just remember it being a bit disappointing, and that like it didn't really have much of a payoff for what it was. So yeah, I'm gonna get rid of that one too. The next one is another series that I'm not going to bother with, because I found a better version of this story, and I wasn't that bothered about it at the time when I read it anyways, and that is A Thousand Nights by E.K. Johnston. Obviously, I'm sure you can tell where I'm going with this. I read, oh my god, what is it called? Oh, by Renee Adier. I genuinely can't believe I can't remember. I'm going to have to look. The Wrath and the Dawn. That's what it is. I've probably just given you a really good shot of my shoulder. Anyways, yeah, The Wrath and the Dawn. I read that and it is so much better than this, so I'm not bothering anymore. Another series that wasn't actually supposed to be a series, I don't think, but then this one was really successful, so they just went, let's make more. Is My Lady Jane. I was really excited for this because of all the hype, and it was supposed to be the funniest book ever, and it was so much fun to read, and blah 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 blah, and it was very okay. And I have no interest in reading any of the others. But it's by 3 people. It's Cynthia Hand, Brodie Ashton and Jodie Meadows. And it's like a bit of magical historical realism about Lady Jane Grey. And I do enjoy Lady Jane Grey's actual like story and information, and I like books that are like fictionalising her life, whatever. But this one was just, I feel like this was in the books that I read where I was like, I am too old for this. This is not for me. So yeah, I don't want to keep anything in my life that reminds me of how old I am, because I'm getting old. The next one is The Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black. I don't think this is a series, but I love fairy/fae stories, but this one just didn't really do anything for me. It was just okay. I think I gave it like 3 stars, and I don't really remember much about it apart from there was like, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but there was like, no, it's on the back. I remember there being some like sleeping prince that everyone was like fascinated with, but I don't really remember much that actually happened around it. So yeah, I think this book haul is very much things that I've realised were mediocre and I don't remember them, so I need to stop encouraging them in my life. Few left, let's make them a bit closer. And the next one is Under My Skin by James Dawson. I do kind of really distinctly remember this one at least, but it's just not a story that I'll ever come back to, and I'm not really that fussed about keeping it on my shelves. I'd much rather make room for a story I'm more excited for, so sadly this one's more, it's just going to make room. There's nothing particularly wrong with it. It was a fun read at the time, if I remember, and it's a very pretty edition, like I like the pink pages. But yeah, it's time to go, so bye. The next series that I have started and are no longer going to continue, I'm sure plenty of people have unhauled this series for the same reasons I'm probably going to say, is the Red Queen series by Victoria Aveyard. I have 2 of the books, Red Queen and Glass Sword. I enjoyed Red Queen. I enjoyed this one. When a lot of people were giving it a lot of hate and bashing on it, I didn't really understand. Then I read this one and it was boring and nothing happened, and so now I get it. I know that these are very tropey as well. I know a lot of people say they find similarities in other stories, and I can kind of get that, but that didn't bother me. It's more that I read the second book and it just, nothing really seemed to happen, and I remember the plot of the first one and I barely remember anything from the second one. So yeah, and I haven't gone out to buy the next books, and I think there's like 2 more out now, maybe even 3 more out, and I'm just not bothered. I haven't purchased them, so yeah, it's time to give up on that one, I think. The next one is Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist by Rachel Cohn and David Leviathan. Yeah, but again with this one, it's kind of like the Under My Skin story where I remember it, but I may remember this one because I watched the film as well. And so I remember it, and it was a fun enough story, but I'm never going to read it again. I'm not really that bothered about contemporaries, and it just makes that little bit more room, literally that little bit more room. This book is tiny, but yeah, it just makes a bit more room, and yeah, I'm not interested. So yeah, goodbye. I don't feel like I'm doing a very good job of explaining any of these stories, but I'm getting rid of them, so it doesn't matter. I'm not recommending them. The next, I've got 2 more lots to show now, and they're both series that I'm giving up on. The next one is one that I'm giving up on because I'm going to keep my other Disney based series and continue on with that, and this one I'm going to give up because I feel like I'm even though I'm too old for those ones, I'm way too old for these ones. And that is the Isle of the Lost series by Melissa de la Cruz. There's also bits in this that have annoyed me because they don't stick to Disney canon. And I know it's not, obviously it's not Disney canon perfectly, but like, I wish I could remember some of the points. But there was things like, say for example, this isn't true, and I'll use a character that isn't even in this story. Say for example, they'd say like, Princess Tiana doesn't even like cooking. There'd be something like that in there, and I'd be like, what? That's nothing like that character whatsoever. Why have you put that in there? And it just annoyed me. And I feel like Melissa de la Cruz has watched the Descendants movies, but nothing else Disney, so she's got this weird like view of how Disney works, because even for Disney canon, Descendants is a bit all over the joint. I've seen the first movie of all of the Descendants, so yeah, I'm just not that fussed. I can't really continue on with a series that is kind of going against what I enjoy about Disney. But they were easy and fun to read, so yeah. And the last one is a series where I only have one book and there's like 10 books or something stupid, and I just can't. I can't care enough to go out and buy all the books because I barely remember what happened in this first one. And that is HalfBlood by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I got this for like £1 randomly, so it's not that big of a deal, but yeah, I'm just not bothered. I remember that she was like some sort, is this a spoiler? I don't know if it's a spoiler, but she went to some kind of school and was training to be like a hunter or something. I don't know. It was a long time ago and I'm not that fussed. So yeah, they're all the books I'm getting rid of. No manga this time. I'm pretty happy. I'm looking at my manga collection right now. I'm pretty happy with it. It's lovely as it is. But yeah, there's just some series and standalones and whatever that I'm just not bothered about anymore, and I was kind of just hanging on to them for the sake of them not being bad, but they weren't exactly good either. Like, I'm not excited about any of those books. So yeah, just a nice little clean up, make room for hopefully some nice Christmas presents. Not that I expect any books. I haven't like actually been asked about books by anyone, but yeah, and I've bought quite a few ones, so hopefully a haul will come soon. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye.